Okay, before we get started, we're gonna get everybody up to date today, okay? Tomorrow is double education. We're gonna get into some steps 3 and 4 tomorrow. When you leave here tomorrow afternoon, if you cannot fill out a 4-step, it's not because of us. Be because you. Now, they're gonna have a young lady. She's sitting in the back right now. Her name is Savannah Smith. He's going to do some education with us. Going to do some live education here. Going to do some in Bogalusa. Going to do some in Mid-City. Make no mistake about it. She's in here. It's like me in here. And if you disrespect her in any kind of a way, she's going to tell me your name. We're going to part company. We're going to treat her, anybody that comes up in here to do education, like you treat me. Okay? Okay. Yes, sir. All right. We're going to go for about an hour. She's going to come up after that. She's going to tell y'all a little bit about herself. Been in recovery, been around the 12 steps, quite some time. I think some of y'all over here would get a lot out of her. I really do believe that. All right. How many of y'all, when y'all first come to treatment, you know you have a little drug and alcohol problem? You just don't know what it is. Now, if you show me an alcoholic, I will show you someone who has tried buku solutions to a problem they do not understand. What's your first name? Michaela, what are you using besides people? Okay, how are you doing? That's your favorite way. Okay, if you had 10 lines ready to go, could you do a quarter today? Put the rest in the refrigerator. Go about your business for a month. If there's no probably, you could not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in here.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's your favorite? Oh shit, like gas. Rubbing alcohol? Do you drink rubbing alcohol? So not all gas. What's your favorite? If I put every form of alcohol on that table, I said, go pick your favorite one. What would you pick? Perfect. See how easy that was? Now, what kind of bourbon? Favorite kind? Okay. If you had a taste of that shit, could you take the seal off one bottle, pour you one little drink about like that, put the top back on the bottle, put it in the refrigerator, drink that drink, and go about your business for a month. Come back, take the same bottle, right here, right here. Take the same bottle, pour you one more little bitty drink like that, drink it, and do that every month until all that shit was gone. What happens every time you put the first little bit in? What do you want? And you go and go and go like the Energizer Bunny until you run out, pass out, get locked up, or somebody stops you. What's your favorite? How you doing? Snort. Same thing I asked her. If you had 10 lines ready to go, could you do a quarter today? Put the rest in the refrigerator, snort that little quarter, go about your business for a month. Why can't you do one, maybe two, put the shit down and go about your business? Why can't you do that? Huh? Say this. Say, I don't have a damn clue. Because that's the truth. Now, what's your favorite? Huh?
Heroin.
How? If you had 10 rigs ready to go, you shoot one today, put 9 of them in the refrigerator, go about your business for a week, come back and do a second one. Leave 8 of them in the refrigerator and do that every week for 10 weeks. What happens every time you shoot the first one.
Or no.
Does this happen to you? Something in your body, we refer to it as an allergy. It gets kicked off and your body starts to physically crave another one. Does that happen to you? Does that happen to you? To you. Now, how many of y'all, every time you put that in, it's a wrap? You're going to go and go and go and go and go until you run out, pass out, get locked up, or somebody stops you. Now, how many of y'all, the end result every time you do that is one of these? Do you keep ending up on sprees? What's your favorite? Yeah. Okay. Every time you take the first little drink, do you set that off? And does your body say more? And the more that you put in, the more your body craves. And the more your body craves, the more you have to put in. Now, do you keep ending up on those? Now, have you ever been on a bad spree? You got in legal trouble, family trouble, financial trouble, the whole fucking 9 yards in one swoop.
I've never been in legal trouble, but yes, in my family.
Okay. How many times have you said after a spree, done? How long you been using? Like 2 days? Okay. In those 4 years, has the thought ever crossed your mind what you're doing is killing you? But why are you here then? Because everything was fucking going marvelous out there?
No, I'm honestly here because of my daughter.
Okay. Well, what did she say? Hey, Mom, the fentanyl experiment went so well, just keep doing it. What'd she say? Okay. So let me ask you this. The whole time you've been using, did you use pregnancy? Huh?
Yes.
So the whole time you were using, you got pregnant, stopped, and started using again. Shit, the only thing we do, girls, keep you pregnant the rest of your life. If we do that, you will be good to go. Your problem's gonna be when you get like fucking 60. I don't know if you get pregnant. How many of y'all have ever come up off a bad spree and said, I'm done? You ever said that?
Yeah.
Have you said that?
Yes, sir.
Have you said that?
Yes.
How many times have you said it?
Honestly, a lot.
What's your favorite? What you've been using? Huh? How many times have you come up off a spree and said, I'm done? Now, you know what they call that, right? Somebody like me and you says, I'm done. That is the Alcoholics National Anthem.
All right.
Now, how many times have you said it?
Billions.
And I promise you, you've meant it every time.
Every time.
I know, I just said. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all come up off a spree, you try to live in your own skin sober for a little while? And that's more miserable than what happens to you over here. Now, whenever y'all living in your own skin sober, how many of y'all start to get irritable? Start to get restless. You start to get discontented. And you start a little buildup between your ears. This thing kicks in and overrules everything. Your freedom, your wife, your kids, your dog, your hamster. And it tells you to put one back in. Now, how many times have you did this? Started. Yeah. Well, you're pretty good at math. Now, how many times have you come up off a spree and quit? The same number. Because every time you start, you quit. And you build up, and you start again. Go through all this, you come up off the spree, you quit. You build up. Start, quit. build up, start, quit. How long have you been doing that? Yeah. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing that? Now, why do you keep putting that in your body? Why do you keep doing that to yourself? I want you to say this. Say, I don't have a damn clue. Now, how many times have you said, I'm done? How many? Now, do you try to live down here sober for a couple of days? Do you get irritable as hell? Restless, discontented? When this thing kicks in up here with you, does it overrule the wifey poo, the threats, the kids? That's got to be powerful to do that to you. And what's it tell you to do? It tells you to put. Now, does this let you see what's fixing to happen? No, because if you could see what's going to happen, you would never put. The only thing that will let you see is you fixing to get some ease and comfort, buddy. Now, when you put one in, do you get ease and comfort? Yeah. Of course you did. Now, if you could stop right there, you wouldn't be in here. Now, why can't you do just one? Because of that physical allergy. Every time you put one in, you kick it off, the craving is produced, and you end up on, you come up for air, you sing the Alcoholics National Anthem, you try to live in your own skin for a couple of days, hours, you start a little buildup. This says, man, you need some fucking relief. And at that point, you probably do. Now, when you put one in, what do you get? The relief. Now, then you set off, and you can't do just one. Now, can you do just one? Because of, can you do none? Up to this point, no. Why? Now, if you can't stay stopped because of that, and once you start, you have no control over how much you're going to use because of that, you are one powerless ass person. What's your favorite thing? What have you been using? What kind?
Beer, vodka,
Favorite kind?
vodka.
Every time you do that, do you set that off?
Really, no, which is what makes me a little.
Okay, let me ask you.
I can stop. I actually can stop, and I have. But that's not the issue that I have. Is that
Don't do that. Don't do that.
the issue that I have is regardless of how much I have, I do something I regret.
Well, guess what a normal person never does?
What?
Drink more than they intended and do something they regret. So guess what that tells me about you? Guess what that tells me about you?
What does it tell you?
You ain't fucking normal. That's what that tells me about you. Now open y'all's big books up to page XXV in 3 eyes. XXV in 3 eyes. If I told you XXIV, your ass would already be there. XXV in 3 eyes. The way you're going to know you there. The first paragraph down is going to start out with "we believe." Now, Blake, how many times have we broke this down for you? Well, not thousands. We're getting close. Well, we've broken it down for you a bunch of times. Huh? Now, do you get this part? Look, if you don't get this by now, you have a learning disability. Now, I want you to listen to this. Most of y'all who come in here, y'all get this part, especially if you're alcoholic. Well, what most of y'all, it goes whoop, right over your head, this part. Now, Why do you keep dumping the first one in? Because of that. If you don't get this out of your head, no matter what the consequence, you're going to keep putting that in. Now, we're going to break some stuff down for you where even a real kindergartner could understand it. I want you to start reading. I want you to read it loud, and I want you to read it clear. Hold on a minute. How y'all function in the real world is beyond me sometimes. XXV and 3 eyes. First paragraph down. Go.
We believe and so suggested a few years ago that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy.
Stop. Look. Damn, I ain't even got glasses and I can find the shit. Now, it says it's a manifestation of an allergy. Now, look up here. The way this allergy manifests itself is through the craving. Normal people, whatever the hell that is, when they put one in them, they do not set off the allergy, and their body does not physically crave another one. Now, how many of y'all, every time you dump the first one in, you set off a craving, and your body says, I need more. So you dump the second one in, and when you do, the craving now doubles. So physically, you have to put, and when you dump the third one in, the craving now has triple. How many of y'all have said, I'm just going to do 2, just going to do 3? If you understand this part, you will see why you can't do that. Now, guess what a normal person never says? Going to do just. They never say that shit. So, how many of y'all have tried to control it before? Normal people never try to control it. They do it automatically because they don't have. If you try to control it and prove you're normal, it actually proves the fucking point that you're not. That's what it proves. Now, how many of y'all have tried to do none? And the reason you can't quit putting it in you is because of that. Now, the first one, this first one is an act of the mind. The second one on is an act of the body. And you got to understand the difference. Now, how many of y'all have not had a drink or a drug in 72 hours or more? Then there's no way you could be craving it. What you're doing is obsessing about it. Got to know the difference between a craving, which is physical, and an obsession, which is mental. Now, how many of y'all have not used in 3, 4, 5 days and you say, man, I sure am craving a fucking drink. I sure am craving a hit. You're not craving it. What you're doing is obsessing about it. You can't crave it unless you put the first one in the system. Now, once you put the first one in, that bitch goes on vacation. Now it becomes physical. You set off the allergy, it produces the craving. The body is now telling your mind what to do, which is go get some more. Now, we're going to pick up where she left off. Go.
That the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker.
Now, it says the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class right here. People who have the allergy. And it never occurs in the average normal temperate user. Now, how many of y'all have seen normal people who can do 1 or 2? Look, I lived with a normal guy. We were roommates, best friend. He didn't have this. On Fridays, we would get off of work. 4 or 5 of us, we'd all put our money together, go buy a big old cookie about that big around and about that thick. Couple of cases of Budweiser. We'd start playing cards, drinking and smoking. About 10 o'clock, he would say, I'm going to bed. And I would say, why? Look what we got. He said, I have to go to work. I said, why? Now, about 5 a.m., I'm coming back in the door from another run. He's going out the door to work. We would pass, and I'd go, hey, look what I got. No, I have to go to. And I said, why? Now, I would look at him and go, what is wrong with you? And he would look at me and go, there's no way I'm getting my rent on the first. Now, how many of y'all look at normal people and you think something's wrong with them? And they look at you and they go, what in the hell are you doing? Now, most of y'all, like me, you drank and drug abnormally for years. So abnormal has become normal to you. And when somebody says, I think you have a problem, you go, not me. Not me. See, how many of y'all normal people have said, what are you doing? And you go, nothing. What are you doing? Because you look at normal people like they're dumb as a box of rocks, and you're the only one that has your shit together. Now, the way you know you have the allergy is every time you dump one in, it produces a physical craving. Now, what's your first name? What?
Holly.
Holly. Holly?
Holly.
Like
Holly.
Holly Golly. Okay, Holly. If Holly came up here and told y'all, I got 5 X-Lax tablets, I'm going to eat them, and in an hour, I'm not going to shit. What would you think of her? Huh? What would you think? Not for long. Now, if she ate 5 X-Lax tablets, and those chemicals would start working on her body, right? Would her body take over and tell her mind what to do, which is go shit. Now, could her mind overrule her body? There's no way. Now, if you, like me, alcoholic, and you put any form, liquid, powder, pills, rocks, into your body, that chemical starts working on your body, don't it? Does your body take over and tell your what to do? Just go get some. Now, if she never put the X-Lax in her, would she have to go shit? If you never put the first one in, you'd never need second one. You'd quit in and up on, and your life would get better. Now, you ever heard of Stevie Wonder? He's a blind musician. He can see that shit you can't. Keep reading.
These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form.
Now, did it say you can't use? Did it say you can't use? You? What did it say? Safely use. It don't say you can't use again. Because look at here. If you don't do something in treatment, you will use again. What it says is you can never use safely. And safely means one. And the reason you can't do just one is because of the allergy. Now, how many of y'all can't do just one? How many of y'all can't do none? Now, I guarantee you, if somebody would have came to me and said, hey, look, here's a rock. If you can do one hit, I'll give you $10,000. I promise you, I could do one hit. Now, could I do it on a consistent basis? No way. And after I did that one hit and got that money, I would have a bad case of the jitters. Now, how many of y'all sit in here and you try to prove what we're telling you here ain't true? Look, you didn't fucking end up here by mistake. Why'd you come here? Did you come for the horseback riding?
I wish.
Yeah, me too. Did you come for the swimming lesson? You're here for something's up. Something's seriously up with you. But it's not what you think. How long have you been using? Just using.
16 is when I started.
That doesn't tell me anything. I don't know how old you are.
I'm 31, so that's 15 years.
Okay. In 15 years, from the first time you used to the last, has it gotten better? Stayed exactly the same? Okay, so up and down doesn't mean better, doesn't mean the same. So are the ups like this and the downs way down here?
The downs are way down.
I was gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it's getting, yes. Now, how many of y'all can't see it? But everybody around you who knows you, who cares about you says, what in the hell are you doing? And you say, nothing. You do. And they finally just go. Now, I drank and drug for around 26, 27 years. I never one time said, I got enough last night. I never once said that. Now, there's a lot of nights I had too much, but I never got enough because I never could satisfy the craving. Now, many of y'all have said shit like this. Well, that's a trigger. How many of y'all have said that? How many of y'all have said, well, I can't go there because that's a trigger? Now, you were in here last week. I told you there are two triggers in this world. One's on a gun, and the other one is a stuffed horse. Now, if you're too young to know what I'm talking about, Roy Rogers had a horse named Trigger. And he is stuffed and he's in a museum right now. Now, you don't have triggers. It's called, if you got that, it don't matter where you go. You're going to keep putting. Now, if you don't have that, you can go anywhere and do anything a normal person can do, except, and if you don't have that, you won't want to do that. Keep reading.
And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break
Look
it.
up here. Once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it, this is what happens to you. Go.
Once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult to solve.
Now, how many of y'all in this room keep taking problems and piling them on problems? To get over the problems you use, which create more, so you pile more problems on. How many of you come in here and you have more problems than a one-legged woman in an ass-kicking contest? And you keep telling yourself, it ain't that thing. How many of y'all in here, if people really knew how you felt, they would go, son of a bitch. If they could open you up and look inside you, they would go, mother. Would you? Yeah. See, and you won't tell nobody. The way you deal with it, somebody who has to put something in them to change the way they feel, don't feel too good to begin with. People who feel good don't think about putting to change the way they feel. They already feel good. Now, how many of y'all you can't stay stopped? Because, and once you start, you can't control how much you're going to use because of the allergy. So these two things combined have rendered you powerless. Now, I want you to close your books. I want you to listen up, Linda. Now, how many of y'all in here? Let's have a little fun. How many addicts do we have in here? If you're an addict, raise your hand. If you're an alcoholic, raise your hand. You don't know what you are, alcoholic or addict. Yeah, but your figure ain't too fucking good. Look where you sit. Now, what's an alcoholic? Okay. Well, alcohol is a drug now. It's the oldest known drug on the face of this earth. What's an addict? Alcohol's a substance. You just drink it too fast to realize that. Now, I want you to look up. What do you see? That's a ceiling. Above the ceiling is a roof. Now, between the ceiling and the roof, it's an attic. Now, do you even know what an alcoholic is? Say this. Say, I don't have. I know you don't. An alcoholic is someone who has the physical allergy. No matter what form of alcohol I put in my body, I won't pour. Now, do you drink? If I dropped you off on a deserted island for 6 months, a lot of people would be thrilled. If I dropped you on a deserted island for 6 months, and I gave you 6 months worth of food, right? And a case of Jack Daniels. When I came to get you, would all the food be gone? Quite naturally, would every bottle be in that case unopened?
Yes, I don't think.
I know. I heard what you said. Now, I would bet my house, which is almost paid for, that after about a week or two on that island, your ass would be getting irritable, restless, and discontented. This thing would kick in and overrule you don't like fucking alcohol, but you want to change the way you feel, and you would sip the first one. And when you did, it would set off. And you would end up on a spree all by yourself. And when I came to get you, not only would the food be gone, the whole case of Jack Daniels would be gone, and you'd be looking for fucking coconuts to drink. How many of y'all, because y'all can get your hands on your favorite thing, you say, I don't do that. I don't do that. I guarantee you, if you couldn't get your hand on your favorite thing, and I came up to you and said, hey, smoke these little green rat turds, it'll do the same thing ketamine does. How many of y'all say, well, I'm not alcoholic, I didn't drink? Alcoholic is someone who has the physical, and once they put any form into their system, off to the races. Now, what we're going to talk about now is not that. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Now, the solution. It's only as good as your understanding of the problem. Lane's been to how many treatment centers, Lane? Now, can he repeat lingo? He can. Does he really get this? Not to, as of today, because his past track record proves he's never got this, because he never does this like we say. The people who get this get this. The people who don't really understand this only do a part of this. How many of y'all been to treatment before? How many of y'all got out of treatment and went to meetings? And you asked God, load it again. Because if you have this problem and all you do is go to meetings, you're gonna get loaded again. Now, I want you to listen. You to really open your mind up and listen. Now, if somebody asked, how many AAs are there? What would you say?
In the chapter in Baton Rouge, I'd say about 15 AA meetings.
Okay. What would you say? What would you say? I can't wait to fucking hear this. Okay, one. What would you say?
I don't know.
If they could follow what you keep saying, they'd be all right. I don't know, because they don't have a fucking clue either. Look, there are two AAs. Look, there's two. Two. There is the fellowship in AA, and there's the program of AA. Now, the fellowship is going to the meetings. And in these meetings, what you're going to get is a lot of support. That's what the fellowship does. Now, in the early stages of this, you're going to go here to get some support. As you progress into this and get your head out your butthole, you're going to go to the meetings to give support. After 22 years, I still go to meetings. I don't go for this, I go to give it. Because I can't keep it unless I give it away. Now, the main part of the program, it's not in the meetings. It's in the first 103 pages of the big book. The directions for the steps. They're not in the meetings. They're not on that fucking wall. They're in the book. They're in the first 103 pages of it. Now, if you take the steps like the first 103 pages of the book say, you're going to have a little personality change. Now, if you put these together, I mean a good balance, not heavy on either one, a good balance, you're going to tap into some power. And this is going to take care of what you came. Now, how many of y'all have been to treatment before and you've made this mistake? You go to Fukui's and do nothing over here. And you'll ask God, load it again. Look, I'm telling you, one of the biggest mistakes people make when they get out of here is they think if they just go to, they're going to be okay. Because I'm special and I'm different and I'm not like those other alcoholics. Now, how many of y'all have got out of treatment and that's what you did? Lane? How many of y'all? Look, there's proof. Did we get together before this and discuss this? No, hell no. I'm telling you what I see. I've been seeing it for years. Look, I've treated over 35,000 of us. Got a little spirit. And I'm telling you the mistakes people make. Now, this right here, is it important? It is. This right here is crucial. Now, if somebody does that and that, they're going to tap into that. Now, how many of y'all come in here and you think you already have the power? If you did, the very first time you set off your spree, I'm done, guess what you would have been? Done. So that proves you ain't got the damn power. Now, you can't know what you don't know. I never knew I wasn't tapped into this power until I actually tapped into the shit. And when I tapped into it, what occurred to me was I never had been tapped in. I'd been around it, but I'd never been tapped into that power. See, how many of y'all come in here and you think you already here? When really your ass is here. Before we move on, what we just did, we gave you two set of facts. We gave you one set of facts. You either got the shit or you don't. Then we gave you another set of facts. This shit works. Now, you wouldn't know that yet because you've never did it. You been to treatment?
Yeah.
How many times? Where'd you go first time?
I'm still in South Florida. I know.
The second time? Please don't tell me life skills.
Plain.
Okay, the third time.
Here.
This is number 3. So you're actually fixing to get real treatment if you want it. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you say. How many of y'all in here? You've been fooling yourself, telling yourself, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just been unlucky. How many of y'all keep telling yourself a bunch of lies? Now, we just gave you facts. Look, how many of y'all, before you came here, the day before, you were packing your bags to come here, and you were folding your shit up, and you said, I think I'm going to go to Woodlake because shit's going so marvelous for me. Did you say that? See, you're sitting in here because something is up with you. And we just told you. And the solution to that is these facts. Now, when somebody has two set of facts, they got to split them in two. And they got to choose which facts they're going to operate on. Now, which facts have you been operating on? These or these? How well is that working for you? So if you want something different, you got to do something different. Now, over here, if you did a lot of shit you didn't want to do, if you come over here, guess what you're going to do? Shit you don't want to do. So guess what the fuck you fixing to do? One way or the other?
That way's nowhere.
Well, I know that, but you don't. But guess what you're fixing to do? Whether you stay there or come here.
Change.
Shit you don't want to do. Now, do you want those results of doing what you don't want to do? Or you want some new results? Okay. Now, when somebody gets to this step, what they're going to do is make a decision. Now, I want you to raise your hand. if you think decisions change shit. I want you to raise your hand if you think decisions change nothing. And I want you to raise your hand if you don't have a fucking clue. All right, I want y'all to close your eyes. I'm giving you permission to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Keep them closed. Keep them closed. Keep them closed. I want you to decide to go to California. Open your eyes. Where you at? Huh?
Here.
Where's here?
Treatment.
Where's treatment? Are you in Ethel, Louisiana? Did you decide to go to California? Close your eyes in. Close your eyes. Decide to go to California. Open your eyes. Where you at? In Ethel. Did you decide? No? Close your eyes again, then. Now, before you open them, in your mind, I want you to decide to go to California. Open your eyes. Are you still in Ethel?
Yes.
Okay. Did you make the decision to go to California? Oh, God. You don't want to call that shit dope, huh, girl? Look, how many of y'all decided to go to California? And where are you now? So decisions change nothing. Decisions imply further action. Now, you have to decide, do you want to stay here? Do you want to seek this power? That's your two choices. Now, if you're sitting in here and you think you have a bunch of decisions to make, you've never saw where you're really at. Because if you see where you're at, it leaves you but one choice. How many of y'all come in here? This sumbitch starts working again because you're sobering up. And all of a sudden, you have more business than the fucking president of the United States does. If you think you got a bunch of decisions to make, never seen where you're really at. It's when. Once you see it, it leaves you but one choice. Now, how does somebody carry out step 3 and get out of the problem into the solution? How do I do that? By taking steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we call these action steps. Now, people who don't really see where they're at are not about to do that. They'll never get over here. They will stay stuck here. They will use again and they will say, that AA shit don't work. Now, I asked you, if you stay here, you're going to do some things you don't want to do. You said, if you do this, you're going to do some shit you really don't want to. Yeah. But this is going to get you this. And this,
Got me nowhere.
this is not doing this is going to get you where you're already at.
What I'm saying.
Now, once somebody takes 4 through 9, they have tapped into power. The way they stay tapped in is by taking 10, 11, and 12 daily. Now, every time I do those 3 steps, every day, all day, I tap deeper into this power and deeper and deeper and deeper. And nothing that life throws me can shake me. Nothing. Look, since I have been in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, in a time frame of about 18 months, I lost a nephew. He was a Baton Rouge firefighter. He drowned. It took us a month to find him. About 6 months later, I lost my mother. A couple of months later, my sister, the firefighter's mother. And then my brother. And it wasn't 2 months later, I'd get diagnosed with cancer. Not one time did I say, I went, bruh, I really appreciate you letting me get all up into this before you drop that shit on me. How many of y'all crumble like a house of cards? Every time the first little thing happens, you crumble. And this is how you crumble. Boom. If I asked y'all, you a man? A manly man. What's a man to you?
Right,
Okay,
the right things,
okay,
protect their family.
okay, takes care of their family. What, financially,
Financially.
emotionally, spiritually? Do you do that?
Not all
So do you do that?
No.
Okay. So you think you're something that you're really not. But the way you think, that's what you really are. See, how many of y'all come in here and y'all think y'all something that you're not? And when somebody tells you the truth about yourself, this is what you do. Because you don't want to hear the damn truth. Page 45, we're going to go for about 15 more minutes. I'm going to turn it over to Savannah. She's going to close y'all out today. About 15 more minutes. Page 45. We're going to start the first full paragraph down. Start reading. Read it loud, like when you was hollering for some dope. Woo!
Oh, that was our dilemma.
What did it say was your dilemma? Look up here. If I'm lacking power, that means I am. Now, a dilemma means you have two choices. Two. Look. Two. And you don't like either one. Look, how many of y'all want to go back and get what you've been getting and worse? If you want some more of this, we really need to get you to another facility. But how many of y'all really don't want to do this yet? Look, if there was some other way you could get rid of this problem without coming here and doing this, y'all have signed up for that shit a long time ago because you already did, and it didn't work. So you're facing a dilemma. You have two choices, and you really don't like either one. Look, when I first came in here, I didn't want no more of that, but I really wasn't that excited about that. So I'm looking at it, and I'm going, well, I know what this will get. Been there, done that. But I don't have a clue what this will do for me. Now, how many of y'all come in here and you swear up and down this is a bunch of bullshit and you've never fucking done it? How would you know? Have you ever did this? So you don't know. Have you ever did it? So you don't know. You don't know if you don't know you did it, huh? Keep reading.
We have to find the power by which we can live.
Now, it says you had. They're not suggesting this to you. They say we had to. Had to what? Find a power by which we could live. Look, how many of y'all have not lived in a long time? Your ass has been existing. And that shit sucks. It sucks so bad, you have to keep putting something in you to change the way you feel. Now, it says we had to find a power by which we could live. Go.
That's the power greater than us.
Now, it says it had to be a power greater than ourselves, not equal to or less than. Greater. Now, that writing that they put in that book, when they're trying to make a very important point like they just made, they call it what? Huh?
Sorry, with a PowerPoint.
I could get high out of that. Oh, that's right, you one of us. Look, educated people call it. Us alcoholics call it drunk ass writing. Now, when they put that kind of writing in a book, it's important. It's very, very important. They're trying to make an important point. And that point is, it has to be a power greater. Then they follow that up with a one-word sentence. No, it says, hey, dumbass. Obvious. Now, I want you to listen to what he's going to tell you. You're not here for this, for what he's fixing to say. You're in the wrong institution again. Go.
Where and how will we find this power?
Question mark. So they're fixing to tell you where and how. You ain't interested in that. I don't know what you're doing here. Go.
Well, that's exactly what this book is about.
Son of a bitch. Ain't that some shit? How many times you been to treatment? Let me see your book. When you got this book, it said Alcoholics Anonymous. Huh? What you think this book is about?
It's a book.
I can't wait to fucking hear this, by the way.
I don't know.
Shit, girl, you getting there. Oh, Lord have mercy. How many of y'all, when y'all get this book, seriously, like I thought it had to do with alcoholism? Most people get this book and it says Alcoholics Anonymous, so they think the book is about alcoholism. It's not. The reason they talk about alcoholism in the first part of the book is to get you to see where you're really at. Once you see where you're at, then they spring the main purpose of the book on you. Now, this is the dumbass's version of the bigger book called the Bible. Now, here is how many of y'all, when y'all come in here, y'all think that book really has not a lot of value or interest to you? And I'm telling you, that book, it's going to tell you how to put your life back together in proper order. Now, steps 1, 2, and 3 have put you in a position to do something. And if you do that, it's put you in a position to start living again. Now, I look at 1, 2, and 3 like this. Get ready. Get set. Go. Nothing happens until I take the action steps 4 through. Once I take that, I have a design now, I will start living again. If you're living, you would never think about putting something in you to change the way you felt. Now, tomorrow, I'll come in here. We're going to get into step 3, nuts and bolts of it. And then the second part of the day, we're going to show you how to fill out a 4-step right way. Now, how many of y'all in here right now are working on your 4-step? Okay. How many of y'all did a 5th step since you've been here? Okay. All right. How many of y'all have been here 2 weeks? 4. Okay. You're fixing to be starting on a 4-step. You haven't already. If you've been here 2 weeks or less, we're going to roll back around on this again. Or it's time for you to start your Now, if you're here 2 weeks or less, I'll listen. So the next time we roll around on it, you will know what the hell we're talking about. Okay? What are you doing back here?
See my story?
Huh?
See my story?
Hell no. I don't know why you back here. Because you didn't do what we said the first time. How well did that work? Let me ask you something. I want you to help these people out. When you came here the first time, how long ago was that?
6 months.
Okay. Now, when you were here, did I tell you? We don't help change your life. We're gonna screw you up so bad. You're gonna wish you never heard of this place. Now, when you got out, what happened? Did God drop some shit on you Ajax wouldn't take off? That means the consequences got severe. I know. You see the difference between the first time you came, when you left, you knew what to do. Before you got here the first time, you really did nothing, did you? And God takes a lot of mercy on people who don't know. But people who know and don't do it, He will drop some shit on you like that happened. I know. You got some shit.